She called the Pentagon. Their careers ended. The traffic lights bled red through the rain-soaked windshield, painting the world outside in streaks of warning. General Maya Carter could feel the thump of her heart echo through the leather seat of her Tesla as she waited for the light to turn. She'd just left a national security briefing at the Pentagon, mind running with code names and crisis scenarios, when a blare of sirens cut through her thoughts. A pair of squad cars boxed her in. Blue lights flashed in every window. The stormy DC night was suddenly punctured by the shouting of orders, boots on wet pavement, the metallic tap-tap-tap of a baton against her window. She rolled it down, jaw set, the ID badge around her neck, catching the flashing blue light. "Ma'am, step out of the vehicle, now!" barked a cop, a young, pale, hard-jawed man with the hollow-eyed intensity of someone hungry for control. His partner, older and bulkier, glared with suspicion, hands twitching near his holster. Maya's voice was calm, steely. "Officers, is there a reason for this stop? I'm General Carter, U.S. Army. My credentials are step out. Now." His hand hovered over his gun. Rain spattered her pressed uniform as she exited, shoes splashing in the gutter. The cops didn't look at her badge. They didn't care about her rank. All they saw was a black woman behind the wheel of an expensive car. The younger cop yanked her arms behind her back, metal biting into her wrists. Maya kept her chin high as they snapped the cuffs tight, deliberate, cruel, performative. The older cop rifled through her car, tossing folders and top-secret briefings onto the soggy ground. A crowd was gathering, faces lit by phone screens, voices tense and angry. Maya saw their disbelief and rage. Is that a general? Are they serious? She thought of her parents, the battles they'd fought in the 60s for dignity. She thought of every soldier she'd ever led. White, black, brown, all colors, trusting her to bring them home. Maya's phone buzzed in her pocket, a direct line only the Pentagon had. "She's resisting!" the young cop yelled, twisting her arms until pain shot up her shoulders. "Bag her stuff, search the trunk." The older cop sneered. "What's a lady like you doing in a car like this, huh?" Maya didn't flinch. "Call my commanding officer," she said, voice steel-edged. "Right now, you're making a mistake." The rain intensified. Her uniform was soaked, her dignity at stake in a public spectacle. Someone in the crowd shouted, "That's General Carter. What are you doing?" Phones recorded everything, live streams already buzzing across social media. Inside the squad car, cuffs biting her skin, Maya managed to slide her hand to her phone. A single call, encrypted, bounced from her location to the Pentagon's Situation Room. On the other end, a voice, urgent, authoritative, familiar, answered, "Ma'am, are you all right?" Before Maya could speak, the younger cop slapped the phone from her hand, his face twisted with something ugly and primal. "Who the hell are you calling?" The camera phones caught it all. The disrespect, the violence, the arrogance. As Maya stared out the window at the red and blue kaleidoscope, she knew the chain of command had been set in motion. She also knew, deep in her bones, that the lives of the men who cuffed her had just changed forever. In the silence that followed, the radio on the cop's shoulder crackled, an unfamiliar clipped voice breaking through the static. "Stand down immediately. This is Pentagon security. Do not move another inch." The air inside the squad car turned suffocating as the radio's command cut through the tension. The younger cop's jaw clenched. He glanced at his partner, suddenly less certain. Rain hammered the roof, muting the shouts and camera flashes outside. General Carter's heart pounded, her training in control but fury simmering beneath her calm. The older cop snapped first. He thumbed the radio, voice bristling with false confidence. Repeat your last." "This is a local traffic stop. We have the situation under control." A beat. Then, a new voice, colder, unmistakably military. "You have apprehended a decorated general of the United States Army. This stop is now a matter of national security. Stand down, repeat, stand down or federal action will be taken." There was no mistaking the threat in the words. Panic flickered in the cop's eyes, their bravado draining away. The younger one stammered, She wasn't cooperating. She looked suspicious." He cast a look at Maya, as if her very existence threatened his world. For the first time, doubt clouded his face. Maya didn't bother to hide her disdain. "You don't get to decide who belongs, not tonight, not ever." Her voice was soft, but it landed like a hammer in the cramped car. Outside, a new energy surged through the crowd. More phones, more voices. "Let her go. We see you." The footage was already going viral. Hashtags blooming, timelines filling, the world watching. A black SUV screeched to a halt nearby, Pentagon plates glinting in the headlights. Two men in dark suits and earpieces rushed forward, their presence instantly shifting the mood from tense to electric. The officers tensed, hands drifting toward their holsters, but the suits moved with calm authority. "General Carter, are you injured?" The taller of the two agents knelt beside the open car door, his face shadowed but his voice warm. Maya shook her head. "Just embarrassed for my country," she whispered. The agent turned on the cops. "You will remove those handcuffs now, and you will surrender your badges for federal review." The words landed like gunshots. For a moment the younger cop hesitated, then fumbled for the keys, his hands shaking. Metal scraped skin as the cuffs popped free. Maya rubbed her wrists, not missing the irony. Decades serving a nation that could still treat her as suspect at a traffic light. The older cop tried to protest. "This is all a misunderstanding." She looked, but the crowd was recording every word, and the agents' faces were granite. "We will need your full statements," the agent said coldly. "You are both relieved of duty until this is investigated." Inside, Maya felt a flicker of something. Was it justice, vindication, or just exhaustion from another battle she hadn't chosen? She caught her reflection in the car's side mirror, a woman who had faced tanks and terrorists, now brought to her knees by men with badges and fear in their eyes. As the agents escorted her away, Maya turned to the younger cop. Their eyes met, and for a split second, the roles reversed. He saw her not as a threat, but as a leader, a person, a reality he could not unsee. But the night wasn't over. In the crowd, a girl no older than 16, eyes bright, phone raised, locked eyes with Maya and mouthed, "Thank you." Just as Maya was about to leave the chaos behind, a flash of blue in her peripheral vision made her freeze. The cops weren't done yet. The older officer was already on his radio, voice low, whispering to someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Something darker was in motion. The next morning, the city awoke to a storm of headlines and hashtags. "General handcuffed on camera." "Pentagon intervenes in traffic stop." News anchors dissected the footage in slow motion, highlighting every flinch, every sneer. Every second, the cuffs clamped General Maya Carter's wrists. Her name was everywhere, on TV, in DC coffee shops, plastered across feeds from Atlanta to London. But inside Maya's apartment, there was only silence. She sat at her kitchen table, uniform jacket draped on a chair, coffee growing cold. Her hands, always steady in the field, trembled as she scrolled through messages. Soldiers, senators, old friends, strangers. Some offered outrage, others offered apologies. A few, as always, blamed her. "Why didn't you just comply? Why make it about race? Why drive a car like that at night?" Maya's jaw tightened. The world spun on opinions, but her lived reality was unspinnable. The Pentagon's crisis team had called her at sunrise. "Ma'am, we're launching a full investigation. Do you want to go public?" the spokesperson asked, voice hushed but urgent. "I want the truth," Maya replied, "for every person who can't make this call." Down the hall, her phone pinged. Another text, this one from her commanding officer. "Proud of you. But watch your six. Some people won't let this go quietly." Maya understood. Power did not cede ground without a fight. For every agent who rushed to her defense, there were 10 men in quiet rooms plotting to spin, silence, or smear. Meanwhile, at the police precinct, the officers faced their own reckoning. The older cop, Dennis, stared at his badge, his whole life suddenly in question. The younger one, Officer Blake, sat hunched over a desk, hands raw from clenching them all night. Reporters waited outside. The chief had suspended them both pending investigation, their faces blurred but stories not. "Why us?" Blake muttered. "We were doing our job." Dennis didn't answer. He scrolled through his own phone, watching the numbers climb on a video. 10,000 views, 100,000, 1,000,000. The world was watching and judging, but behind the noise, something more sinister crept in. The night before, Dennis had whispered into his radio, reaching out to a contact with ties deeper than the badge. Now, an encrypted message flashed on his phone. "Handle it. Quietly. She can't be allowed to make this political." Back in her kitchen, Maya stared out at the city, the dawn sharp and silver on the horizon. She knew this wasn't over. Already, threats poured in, anonymous calls, veiled warnings. Her face was now a symbol, and symbols had a way of drawing fire. A gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. It was her neighbor, Miss Rodriguez, a nurse who'd watched the footage, tears in her eyes. "Mija, I saw you last night. You were so brave." she whispered, voice trembling. She placed a small hand-knitted bracelet on Maya's wrist, a gesture older than words. Maya smiled, feeling the warmth of community and the chill of coming war. Just as Maya closed the door, her phone buzzed again. A Pentagon number, but not from the crisis team. The message was short, urgent. Do not go outside alone. We have intelligence you need to see. Now, the city's pulse seemed to change overnight. Streets that once felt familiar now hummed with tension. As Maya slipped into a dark sedan with Pentagon plates that morning, the world watched through 100 lenses. Her every step dissected, her face now a battleground for millions of opinions. Inside the car, Agent Reeves sat beside her, his suit pressed but his eyes sleepless. General, I'll be blunt. Last night wasn't random. The officers who stopped you, one of them, Dennis Hargrove, has connections we've been monitoring, militia ties, encrypted forums. He made contact after your arrest. Maya listened, hands folded, her mind running through scenarios. Is this about me or about something bigger? Reeves hesitated. Both. We picked up chatter, plans for escalation. You're a symbol now. That makes you a target. As they sped through DC's rain-slicked streets, Maya remembered childhood stories of her grandmother's courage during the civil rights era. Fire hoses and police dogs, lines drawn on southern sidewalks. She'd grown up believing that the world her family fought for was possible, but history had a way of circling back, demanding new witnesses, new warriors. The car stopped at a secure entrance to the Pentagon, where a small team waited. Briefcases, iPads, a security feed flickering with surveillance footage. Reeves led her inside, tension in every step. In a windowless room, a young analyst played a video. Grainy, midnight, but unmistakable. Dennis, the older officer on his phone after the arrest, speaking in code to a man whose face stayed out of frame. The general didn't play ball. Orders, a beat. The voice on the line, low and chilling. Make her regret it. We'll handle the rest. Maya's jaw clenched. So this is coordinated? Reeves nodded. We're seeing similar threats aimed at other high-profile black officials. We're taking it seriously. We want you to stay on base until we lock this down. Maya paced the room, every instinct in her soldier's body resisting the idea of hiding. She'd faced enemy fire, survived war zones most Americans couldn't pronounce, but this was different. This was home, and the bullets were words, the targets unseen. Sir, I won't disappear, she said, voice quiet but unwavering. If they want to fight in the shadows, I'll drag them into the light. Let them see who they're really afraid of. A ripple of respect moved through the room. Even the hardened agents recognized the courage it took to stay visible when everything in you screamed to disappear. That afternoon, news broke that the officers had been suspended. Protesters gathered outside the police station, candles in their hands, chanting Maya's name. The footage from the night before played on every screen, a loop of humiliation and resilience. Some called her a hero, others accused her of playing the race card. Old wounds opened wide. As dusk fell, Maya stood by her apartment window, watching headlights flicker on the wet streets below. In the distance, sirens wailed, a reminder that the city never truly slept. Her phone vibrated again, a message from an unknown number. They're coming for you tonight, be ready. Night pressed against the window, thick and restless, as Maya double-checked every lock in her apartment. The Pentagon security team had offered to move her to a safe house, but she'd refused. This is my home, she'd told them. I won't let fear decide where I sleep. Still, the weight of the anonymous warning pressed down with every tick of the clock. She kept her uniform jacket on, the 4 silver stars on her shoulders a shield, even in solitude. Her service pistol lay on the kitchen counter, next to the bracelet Ms. Rodriguez had given her, a reminder that she was more than a symbol, more than a news story. Outside, headlights swept by in slow, deliberate patterns. Once, Maya would have dismissed the nerves as paranoia. Now she trusted her instincts. Every detail mattered. She watched the street from behind the curtain, memorizing every car, every face. The phone rang, once, twice, then stopped. The silence that followed was almost worse than any threat. Maya tried to steady her breathing, grounding herself in memories of battlefields far from here. Afghanistan, Mosul, the DMZ. There she'd faced fear with purpose. Here the enemy was invisible, and the stakes felt personal in a way war never had. She texted Agent Reeves a quick update. All quiet so far, not leaving, eyes open. His reply came almost instantly. "We have plain clothes on your block. Don't open the door for anyone." But it was her mother's voice, decades old, that echoed in her head. "You're never alone, Maya. Your ancestors walk with you, even on the darkest night." Midnight. Maya walked the apartment, the tension a live wire beneath her skin. Then a soft, deliberate knock at the door. She froze, muscles coiled tight. A second knock, louder this time. Her phone lit up with a new message. No sender ID. "It's not Reeves. Don't answer." Outside, the porch light flickered. Shadows moved beyond the frosted glass. Maya's heart hammered in her chest. She glanced at her pistol, then at the bracelet. A choice between violence and faith, the old world and the new. The knock came again, urgent. "Maya, it's me. Open up, please," called a voice, a woman, strained but familiar. For a moment, time seemed to stall. The voice belonged to Captain Anaya Brooks, Maya's closest confidant in the service, but something was off. Maya gripped the doorframe, weighing trust against caution. From the street, the roar of an engine broke the stalemate. Tires squealed, shouts rose up, and suddenly the building was alive with movement. Maya stepped back, weapon drawn, every nerve screaming for action. Downstairs, a crash, glass shattering, boots pounding up the stairs. The security camera in the hallway flickered to life on her phone, showing masked figures storming the entrance. Maya steadied her aim, heart cold as steel, and braced herself for the coming storm. The hallway filled with the shouts of men determined to remain unseen. Their boots thundered against tile and plywood, echoing up the stairwell. Maya pressed her back to the wall beside the door, weapon drawn, adrenaline coiling through her veins like a warning flare. She thought of the girl in the crowd, the hope in her eyes, the silent thank you, and of every soldier who'd ever looked to Maya for calm in chaos. She would not freeze, she would not beg. The door shook violently as a shoulder rammed it, again and again. On her phone's camera, 3 masked intruders, all in dark civilian clothes, worked in brutal tandem. 1 kept watch, 2 focused on breaking through. Maya slid low, her mind cool and tactical. If they came through, she had 4 rounds chambered and 10 more in the magazine. But she prayed she wouldn't have to fire, not tonight, not in her home. Suddenly, a flashbang erupted on the porch, the world turning white-hot and thunderous. Maya squeezed her eyes shut, breathing slow and deep, muscle memory overriding panic. A second blast. The door buckled, then splintered open. They burst inside, weapons raised. For a moment, all noise ceased, just the static hum of rage and terror. Then Maya's training took over. She aimed at the lead figure, voice unwavering. "Put it down, now." One man hesitated, gun trembling. The second pressed forward, eyes cold and blank behind his mask. He barked something guttural, an order or a threat, she couldn't tell. From behind her, another door crashed open, the kitchen unguarded. Maya pivoted, catching movement. Captain Anaya Brooks, her friend, staggered in, face bloodied, hands zip-tied. Maya's mind raced. Was this rescue or betrayal? The intruders surged. Maya fired, once, then twice. A gun clattered to the floor. Chaos exploded. Anaya screamed. 1 intruder fell, the others scattered, bullets shredding drywall and dreams. Outside, sirens wailed, a distant promise of order returning. Maya dragged Anaya behind the sofa, heart pounding, breath burning in her throat. "You're bleeding," Anaya whispered, voice ragged. "It's not mine," Maya said, though she barely believed it. "Hold on. Help's coming." But the fight wasn't over. 1 masked man, cornered, tore off his mask, face twisted in fury. A face Maya recognized. Officer Blake, the younger cop, eyes wild with betrayal. "You ruined everything," he snarled, gun shaking in his hand. "This was supposed to fix it." Maya stared him down, refusing to give him the fear he wanted. In the chaos, her phone buzzed. 1 more lifeline, or perhaps another threat. She hesitated, torn between finishing this fight and answering the call that might decide everything. The air vibrated with a cocktail of panic and rage. Officer Blake's gun trembled, eyes darting between Maya, the wounded intruder, and Anaya, cowering on the floor. The last shreds of bravado had vanished from his face. Now it was only desperation, the terrible logic of a man cornered by his own choices. Maya's phone buzzed again, louder in the tense silence than any siren outside. She didn't dare take her eyes off Blake. Somewhere on the floor, Anaya reached, blood smearing the wood as she slid Maya's fallen pistol toward her. Blake saw the movement, his expression crumbling. "You think you're better than us," he spat. "You think your medals matter out here." Maya's voice was quiet but unyielding. "What matters is what you do next. You can end this before it destroys you." Outside, police and Pentagon vehicles skidded to a halt, lights painting the apartment in red and blue chaos. Shouts echoed up the stairwell. Blake's world shrank to this room, this moment, everything collapsing inward. For a heartbeat, time stilled. Blake's finger tightened on the trigger. Anaya, with sudden courage, launched herself at him, knocking his aim wide. The gun went off, plaster raining down. Maya closed the gap in a blur, grabbing Blake's wrist, twisting the weapon free. For a second, their faces were inches apart. Blake's mask gone, the boy he once was flickering behind eyes swollen with hate and shame. Sirens thundered in, boots storming the hall. The security team flooded the apartment, weapons trained. Maya stepped back, hands up, the gun at her feet. Blake dropped to his knees, the fight finally leaking out of him, replaced by empty sobs. In the aftermath, Anaya slumped to the floor, head in her hands. "Thought I was dead," she whispered. Maya knelt beside her, gentle, steady. "You're not. We're not." The agents moved swiftly, cuffing Blake, securing the scene, radioing for medical. One stopped by Maya's side, eyes full of unspoken questions. "Ma'am, you're safe now. It's over." But as Maya glanced around her shattered home, saw her blood on the walls and fear in Anaya's eyes, she knew over was just another word for changed. The battle had come to her door, and she'd survived. But the wound, personal, public, permanent, would not vanish with sirens or headlines. Her phone, now silent, glowed with a single message on the cracked screen. "You did not stand alone." By sunrise, the city was washed clean by new rain. The apartment, once invaded and shattered, now hummed with the quiet work of investigators and medics, evidence bags and soft voices cataloging the wreckage. Maya sat on the front steps, blanket around her shoulders, head tipped back to watch the sky grow pale over DC. The world was waking up, again with her name on its tongue. Captain Anaya Brooks rested beside her, bruised but alive, fingers interlaced with Maya's in a silent grip of gratitude. Across the street, the crowd had returned, holding signs that read, "Justice for General Carter and we stand with her." Reporters pressed forward, hungry for quotes, but the police line held. Agent Reeves appeared with coffee, black, just how Maya liked it, and a look of awe that couldn't quite disguise his relief. "You're trending in 50 countries, he said, offering her the mug. The president called. So did the Secretary of Defense. The world saw what happened, Maya. No more hiding for anyone. Maya shook her head, a tired, wry smile on her lips. The world sees what it wants. Tomorrow they'll move on to the next outrage. But for some of us, this isn't a headline. It's every day. As the sun rose higher, one by one, the masked men were led away in cuffs. Officer Blake kept his eyes down, a shattered man before the world. The older cop, Dennis, never showed his face again. His ties to hate groups now splashed across news tickers and federal charges filed before noon. But there was one final twist. That morning, Maya's encrypted Pentagon phone pinged, this time with a video message. On screen was the girl from the crowd, the one who had mouthed, "Thank you." Tears streaked her face, but her voice was steady. "My dad was stopped last year. No one believed him. They said he made it up. But I saw you stand up last night, and now everyone's listening. You made us visible. Please don't stop fighting. We need you." Maya watched the message. Tears she'd held back all night, slipping silently down her cheeks. This, more than any medal, was why she'd endured. She rose, still sore, but taller than before. Maya Carter, the general, the daughter, the symbol, the woman, stepped beyond the yellow tape and into the waiting day. Before the credits roll, the camera lingers on her face, tired but undefeated. The story isn't just about victory or about pain. It's about refusing to disappear, about forcing the world to bear witness. Because silence is complicity, and the only way out is through. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Share it. Speak up when you see injustice. Stand with those who've been silenced. Because the real fight for dignity, for equality, for justice, belongs to all of us. What would you do if you saw it happen? Would you step forward? Leave your thoughts below. Let's keep the conversation alive. Because change is never quiet and it's never easy. But together, we are never alone.